When you're not the golden child, parental favoritism. While they might not admit it to their kids, 23% of parents favor one child, and chances are it's the baby, a new survey has found. Of the parents who cop to having a preference, more than half said it was for their youngest kid, according to the 1,000-person poll by British parenting site Mumsnet. A little more than a quarter of the parents said their oldest was their favorite. Middle children came in dead last. The problem is that a perception of being the least favorite child can take a definite hit on a kid's self-esteem, Dr. Shelley Flace, pediatrician, said. Still, many refuse to name their golden child, with 63% saying they don't have a favorite and 14% saying they weren't sure. Parents showered praise on the kids they think of as their mini-me's. 41% with the favorite said their kid reminded them of themselves. 22% said their favorite also happened to be their best-looking kid. Favoritism could also be rooted in sheer convenience. 61% of the parents said the sibling of their favorite kid is more demanding or tricky. Grandparents are even more guilty of picking sides. GrandsNet, a similar site for grandparents, surveyed 1,111 grandparents and found 42% confessed to preferring one of their grandchildren. In 40% of cases, the eldest. The survey echoes previous research into the competitive world of siblings. A study published last year by researchers at Brigham Young University's School of Family Life also found the youngest child is the favorite for most families. And this favoritism must be for the better. The BYU researchers found that when younger siblings feel favored, they have a better relationship with their parents, but that with their older siblings, whether they feel favored has no major impact. Researchers found that the effect isn't great, showing that children who perceive themselves as being the least favorite are more likely to do drugs and use alcohol and cigarettes in their teenage years. This is especially true when the family unit isn't otherwise very close, and tension between siblings seems to increase when a favored child is in the mix. Parents may also be surprised to learn that perception appears to hold a greater weight than reality in this case. In other words, it doesn't matter so much if mom or dad actually has a favorite. All that really counts is if a child thinks they do. According to Michelle Levin, family therapist and co-owner of Blueprint Mental Health, it can be very common for a parent to like or vibe better with one sibling more so than the others. She explained that kids all have different personalities, interests, needs, and ways of expressing their needs. Kids dealing with other struggles such as depression or anxiety can sometimes exhibit challenging behavior that makes them not as easy to be around as their siblings are. So it's not always the case that a parent loves one child more than the other. It may just be that one child is easier to parent and be around than another is. Then there's the case of children with medical concerns. Levin explained that these children can sometimes require a lot of a parent's time and energy. They may not be the favorite, but to the siblings who aren't getting as much time and attention, the resentment can be very real. She added, I think kids who get the sense that they're the less favored are more likely to act out, especially as they enter their teens. Having strong self-esteem in those years is so important, and if they already think of themselves as the bad kid, it can turn out poorly. Levin agreed, adding, it can certainly impact their self-esteem and how they feel within their family, especially at family events and holidays. It's not just about the relationships between parents and their kids. The relationships between siblings can struggle as well. Vaziri Flays worries that the damage done by parental favoritism can carry into adulthood, making relationships between adult siblings and their parents strained. For parents who don't want their kids to grow up and separate themselves from the family, acting now to put an end to any perceptions of favoritism may be the best solution. When you're the least favorite child, having a talk with your parents. 1. Consider your feelings before having a discussion. Take a step back and evaluate the emotions attached to your perceived experience of favoritism. Gather the facts and do your best to remove any raw emotions. Determine based on this if you have experienced genuine favoritism or if perhaps perceived slights have been blown out of proportion by your feelings. Evaluate, too, if your behaviors or actions in part may have contributed to your perception of favoritism. For example, if your sister has taken an interest in your mom's favorite hobby to spend more time with her, that may explain why they are closer. 2. Approach your parents when both of you are in a good, calm mood. Ask if you can speak with them about something important. Avoid talking just as they have come in from work or while they are in the middle of doing something. Instead, choose a time when you both are free. Try asking after a meal when everyone is relaxed. 3. Open up the talk with an example. Once you all have sat down to discuss the issue, open up the discussion with their most recent show of favoritism. Providing your parents with a concrete example of their own bias is a great way to help them understand your perspective. 4. Explain how you feel, using other examples to back yourself up. Remember not to get angry or use the examples as accusations. Once you get angry, they may clam up and stop listening. You want this to be a discussion where you can both share your sides of the story, not an argument about what they're doing wrong. 5. Focus on your feelings and use I statements. Instead of making comments like you never or you always, focus on your own perspective. Say, I feel instead. Don't make them out to be the bad guys all the time, but do let them know how things are from your point of view. If you feel that you can't talk in person, write a letter or speak over the phone instead. 6. Listen to their perspective. Once you have spoken your piece, listen to their views on the topic. There might be reasons that they show favoritism to your siblings, like an issue you may not know about. Don't interrupt them, yell, or curse. 7. Remain calm. Though the situation seems unfair and is making you upset, stay calm with your parents. Take deep breaths in and out to keep yourself centered. If you become overly emotional, your parents aren't likely to take you seriously. Agree to step away from the conversation if things get hectic. 8. Talk to your sibling. Though you might be feeling a little frustration with your sibling too, reach out to them to talk if you feel comfortable. They are the only other person who knows what it's like to have the same parents as you, even if their experience is different from yours. If you can't talk to a sibling, talk to another family member. Try to counteract the negative effects of parental favoritism and possible sibling rivalry by cultivating a strong relationship with your sibling that is independent from your parents. You can do this by spending quality time together outside of family functions or making a date to go to lunch. Having a positive relationship with your sibling can help increase the emotional support you feel that you may not always get from your parents. Coping with your feelings. Consider whether it really is favoritism by looking at all sides of the issue. Your parents may relate differently to your sibling and act differently around them, but not favor them. They may not realize that they make you feel as though they favor your sibling. Your sibling might be a lot younger or may be sick and need more attention. If some of these issues are present, consider letting it go for now. 2. Vent in a journal. Sometimes the anger will get to you and you'll need to vent. Don't worry, just get your feelings out so you can allow yourself to move on from them. Write down how the favoritism makes you feel. 3. Talk to your friends about their experiences. Your friends might also have parents who favor their siblings over them too. Talk to them and find out how they cope or just vent to them. 4. Do something nice for yourself. It can be really tough feeling that your parents favor your brother or sister over you. Treat yourself to something nice on the days that are tough. Go out and have ice cream with friends or watch that new movie you've been waiting to see. Don't let this situation get you down.